When it comes to electric scooters, one brand has been killing it, and that is TVS with the iQube. It is the largest selling electric scooter in our country. But a couple of months back, TVS thought, let's add some masala to its portfolio and got us the new Orbiter. Can this new scooter achieve the same success as the iQube, or you're better off with the iQube over the Orbiter? As you can see, there are a lot of questions which need to be answered. So let's do a proper road test to find out. So let's talk about performance. The Orbiter gets a peak power of 2.5 kilowatts, not very high, a very basic hub motor. And talking about numbers, 0 to 40 kmph in 6.8 seconds. Yes, the acceleration is slow. It doesn't feel peppy or snappy, which is the case with most of the electric scooters. And the iQube, to give you guys a comparison, the iQube base variant is 2.5 seconds quicker to 40 kmph. So that gives you guys an idea how slow the scooter is in terms of acceleration. And the other number is the top speed, 68 kmph. On paper, it doesn't look bad. But the problem is when you're riding a scooter, when you want to accelerate above 40 kmph, the scooter takes its own sweet time. It doesn't feel energetic. It feels very lethargic. So when you want to overtake a vehicle, you need to basically calculate your move. And yeah, in terms of performance, this is not the scooter to go for. Having said that, if you want a scooter which is going to take you from point A to point B, then the Orbiter does make sense. And a lot of scooter riders in city especially ride between 30 to 40 kmph. So if you want a point A to point B scooter, makes sense. If you want a performance scooter, go for the iQube or some other rival. While the styling of the TVS iQube can be defined as safe and to a certain extent boring, the Orbiter takes a completely bold approach with its funky, futuristic and modern design language. The face of the scooter looks like one seamless unit. The large windscreen adds presence, and the sloping apron with the LED strip in the center is so cool and gives it a premium vibe. The large 14-inch wheel and the chopped fender is a nice addition. In profile, the Orbiter looks the best in my opinion, as the combination of straight and curved lines give it an industrial form which makes it stand apart from other scooters. The tail section is also very clean with a wraparound tail light and indicator. Simple in approach but heavy on visual impact. If the above wasn't enough, there are 6 color options and the dual tone finish is a neat touch. Moving on to features, you get an LCD instrument console and cost cutting is evident. However, the LCD console doesn't feel cheap by any means and is legible to read under direct sunlight. There are 2 ride modes and most of the riders will be using the city mode over the eco mode. Apart from that, via the app, you get features such as turn-by-turn navigation, call and message alerts, park assist and also hill hold. An interesting feature is cruise control. Given that the top speed is limited to 68 km per hour, the feature looks a bit gimmicky and only useful if you commute via highways. The Orbiter packs a rather large 3.1 kWh battery pack and owing to this has a clean range of 158 km, which is among the highest for any electric scooter on sale. One can look forward to a real-world range of around 110 to 120 km on a full charge. However, the charging time is very slow and to reach 80% it takes over 4 hours. So it's time to check out the ergonomics of the TVS Orbiter. First up, the seat height. The seat height is pretty low at 760 mm. As you can see, I am 5 feet 10 tall, weigh around 100 kg. I'm able to easily flat foot, and for most of the riders, the seat height should be very accessible. Now, second aspect is the riding posture. You get a typical wide handlebar that you see on a scooter, and the riding posture is again very similar to any other electric scooter or even an scooter. Very upright, very comfortable. And the other aspect is the handlebar position. It is tall, so when I'm taking a U-turn, it is not brushing against my thighs, which is the case with most of the scooters. So even for taller riders, there is a lot of space. And talking about space, even on the footboard, the length of the footboard is 290 mm. So there is a lot of space. I have a size 11 shoe, as you can see. Even with my pretty large feet, I have some space to move around. The second aspect is the seat itself. For the rider, there is a lot of space, but even for the pillion, as you can see, the length of the seat, it is pretty long. So for two-up riding, there is a lot of space for the rider and also the pillion rider. Now talking about convenience, you get a small cubby hole over here at the front, It is a bit too slim, but you can keep some knickknacks over here. And talking about underseat storage, this is where the Orbiter really shines through because this has a 34 liters of underseat storage. And as you can see, it's very long, and TVS claims that you can fit 2 half-face helmets underneath over here. So yeah, again, in terms of convenience, also the Orbiter really shines through. And the weight of the scooter is also pretty light, 112 kg. Very easy to park if you want to, not much effort. Also, it gets a reverse mode. So if you have caught yourself in a very tight position, you can always use the park mode and get yourself out. So in terms of ergonomics and in terms of convenience, the Orbiter really shines. The Orbiter differs from the iQube in one big aspect, and that is the size of the wheels. It rides on a 14-12-inch setup, which is very unique for any TVS scooter, including ICE. The large front wheel helps with stability and also agility. While one wouldn't go corner hunting on the Orbiter, the scooter feels very quick on its feet. The steering is very light and taking U-turns is very easy. The suspension setup is basic, telescopic fork and twin shock absorbers. But the ride quality isn't basic but very comfortable and supple. Over broken roads and bad surfaces, the Orbiter feels stable and the suspension tuning is among the best for any electric scooters on sale. But it is very disappointing to see TVS skip on a disc brake. Yes, the performance isn't very rapid, but disc brakes help a lot in cutting down the stopping distance, especially in a panic situation, and can be the difference between a close call and a crash. The drum brakes offer decent stopping power, but hopefully we might see a disc brake variant in the near future. So time for verdict. The Orbiter is the most affordable TVS electric scooter, undercuts the base iQube by 6,000 rupees. Now talking about positives, it looks very funky, in your face. The second aspect is the convenience, 34 liters of underseat storage, which means it scores very highly on that. Other aspect is comfort. The ride quality is very good. The seat space is nice. The footboard space is also very generous. So in terms of the comfort aspect also, it scores very highly. And not to forget the range, over 150 kilometers of IDC range. This is one of the highest range in that segment. So those are the positives for the scooter. Now talking about negatives, first up is performance. The performance of the scooter is very lethargic. As I mentioned before, 0 to 40 kmph, 2.5 seconds slower than the base iQube. So if you want a fast, snappy scooter, this isn't the one for you. The second aspect is that it still doesn't get a disc brake. I think that's a big miss from TVS because the government is pushing for dual channel ABS on all the two-wheelers, be it ICE or EV. And not to get a disc brake at this day and age is a bit disappointing, especially when it comes to safety. The closest rival for this scooter is the Bajaj Chetak C25. In terms of pricing, it undercuts the Orbiter. The performance is almost similar. In terms of range, the Orbiter has the upper hand. So if you want a point A to point B scooter, which looks a bit funky, has a good range, I think the Orbiter makes sense. Among the Chetak C25 and the Orbiter, now that's a comparison that we'll be planning out soon. Among these two scooters, which one will be your pick, or would you pick the iQube over the Orbiter? Do let us know in the comments and please engage with us. As always, ride safe and take care.